What a week. Baseball Hall of Fame. This is a great week.
Well, the three guys that got in, I thought were deserving. Maddox, Glavine, and Frank Thomas.
Yeah.
But my boy, our boy, I don't know if you're a Piazza fan.
I like Mike Piazza.
How does he not get in? He has all the necessary numbers.
I think the problem is the voting.
Well,
you just can't get everybody in. And if people are retiring in a certain time frame, some people are going to get missed out on.
Well, the thing is, they're allowed to vote for 10.
Right, I get that, but you have to accumulate a certain amount of votes to get in.
75%. Okay. Now, the thing is, like my son is an Astros fan.
Okay.
Craig Biggio, for example, he missed out by 2 votes. The problem with that is? JT Snow got a vote, and Jock Jones got a vote.
Jock Jones?
Yeah, you don't know who Jock Jones. You know JT Snow because he was a Yankee.
JT Snow, yeah,
he was
of
a
course.
Yankee and Giant.
And a
So
California Angel.
why those 2 guys got votes at all? First of all, why they're on the ballot is beyond me. To me, that's the problem. The ballot process has to change.
I think you have to put anybody who played on the ballot.
See, I don't think so. I think that part.
That's
the way the rules are now.
Longevity.
Well, you know what? Just because you played 15 years and you sucked, it doesn't mean you belong on the Hall of Fame ballot. So JT Snow, while he was a Gold Glove type guy, but he couldn't hit his weight for an extended period of time.
Just had a great name.
Great, and you remember his father?
Mr. Snow.
No, his father was a professional football player, Jack Snow, Notre Dame, L.A. Rams.
I don't remember him.
Jackie Snow, but I think that the ballot process has to change because if you limit who's on the ballot, then you won't get those frivolous votes for those kinds of guys. A guy like Jack Morris has been getting screwed for 15 years. Now he's done. He's off the ballot.
You know what, Jack Morris? I don't think.
Well, you know what? His problem is he played in the American League,
right.
So his ERA is going to be elevated anyway.
Right.
So comparatively speaking to the better...
How many wins are we talking?
He had like 250, 260 wins. I mean, not bad. And he also won World Series with the Twins and the Tigers, and he was dominant. You know, he was the best. See, one of my qualifications is, were you the best player or one of the best players in your time that you played? And when he pitched, Jack Morris was probably one of the 2 or 3 best pitchers in the league at the time, in all the leagues. So, but he just,
I go by all-time numbers.
See, numbers could be misleading, but...
They could be, yeah, with the steroids and everything. Yes, I
But I don't even think, when I think, and getting back to the Piazza thing, and I think that's what the problem is. Oh, he had acne on his neck, so he must have been doing stuff. Listen, the dude can flat out hit. He can flat out hit. He was
not a good catcher.
He was average. He wasn't as bad as people make him out to be.
Oh, he was pretty bad.
But I
liked him. He was pretty bad.
But dude, you hit 370 home runs as a catcher, and you hit like the one year with the Dodgers, you hit like 340. Come on,
right.
He deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
So now, all right,
tell me yes or no.
Look at this.
Piazza Hall of Famer?
Yes.
Okay.
But you got Biggio the least out of all of them, in my opinion.
I'm like this with him, but he's got the numbers.
He's got the 3,000 hits.
He's got the 3,000 hits.
Okay, so then he should be in.
But he's got a 280
so you got
average.
Maddox,
Glavine. Frank Thomas. They're no-brainers.
Piazza and Biggio, all eligible the same year.
And Bagwell.
Marcus Bagwell?
Jeff Bagwell.
Jeff Bagwell. Marcus Bagwell's the wrestler.
Who's Marcus Bagwell?
The wrestler.
Hey, I don't follow wrestling.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Marcus Bagwell.
Well, that's good, though. Are they related?
I don't think so.
Okay.
But you got 5. You can't, all 5 can't go
You
the same year.
You ever see the NFL? They induct like 10 guys every year. So
they just do it. They don't even vote. I don't
But
think.
what's good about what they do is they actually have a gathering of the voters, and they actually have a process where they eliminate, like say they go in with like 25 guys, and then one guy will discuss each guy for his case, and then they vote. Then it gets down to like 15. Well, you know what? If you're gonna do it that way, it's a long process.
But you don't want to water down the Hall of Fame either.
Well, the funny thing with the Football Hall of Fame is that how do you equate a quarterback with an offensive lineman? It's hard.
It's hard.
There's no numbers for an offensive lineman.
I totally get that.
In baseball, you can compare an outfielder with a pitcher to a certain degree because 300 wins and 200 home runs, you're going to put the 300 win guy in there. But you have 300 wins and 500 home runs, they're both going to go. Unless they did steroids, Listen, and if you're wondering how I feel about the steroid thing is, my feeling is you either put everybody in or you just totally exclude them, take them off the ballot. But who's guilty, who's not guilty? I mean, they've never proven really who did the deed. I mean, you're telling me, listen, Clemens, scumbag. Palmeiro, scumbag. Sosa, scumbag. Shall I get McGuire? But you know what though? You take the drugs away from them, they're still going to be great ball players. And
See, I'm a firm believer, and I'm going to piss off a lot of people on this, and I really don't
Go
care
ahead.
about it. Steroids are going to make you hit a ball farther.
potentially,
It may build your endurance.
it'll do that. Yeah.
It will not teach you how to hit a ball.
No.
And until people realize that, you still have to have that technique. You have to have that skill to do that.
I totally agree with that.
You know?
Absolutely.
And in all honesty, aren't they making the ballpark smaller?
Yeah.
They're a lot smaller than they were back in the 70s.
Yeah, they are. But
Okay, and they did that for a reason, because they wanted these inflated numbers.
well, and the problem is they have too much of an example with the Brady Andersons of the world who hit 50 home runs after never hitting more than 10.
Okay, but then what, did he ever hit 50 again?
No.
He had a good year,
Yeah, well, that's the thing. What
but
about
not because of steroids.
what about these unknown guys that in the minor leagues?
He had a good year.
These guys in the minor leagues that get caught taking steroids, they suck. So the steroids, like you said, aren't going to make you better.
No.
Now, is it wrong that they did it? Yes. They shouldn't be doing that because it potentially could give them an unfair advantage. Now,
Especially during sex, when they retire.
well, they know they're giving that up. They would rather hit 500 home runs
than have sex?
Yeah, it sounds like that.
Okay.
Yeah, well, hey,
I can't hit 500 runs.
but yeah, it's tough to compare. 300 home runs, 500 home runs, sex. Oh, my
So how do you feel about A-Rod?
He's a scumbag. You know what?
Can you say Derek
Just
Jeter?
Huh?
Can you say Derek Jeter?
Derek Jeter. Hey, listen. You can't listen. You can't use them in the same breath. Derek Jeter. Listen. I think the leadership thing is used a little too much. Jeter is just a consistently good ball player, great ball player. I have no issue with him. You know he's a Yankee. He's going to the Hall of Fame no matter what. But you asked me about A-Rod. Just come clean, dude. He's another guy. He did not need to take anything. He was going straight to the Hall of Fame, one of the greatest ball players of all time. Why is he doing it? And if he did it, A-Rod. Just, admit to it.
Yeah.
And if he did admit it, he might have been forgiven, kind of like Andy Pettitte, but he was a bigger jerk off than Andy Pettitte. So, you know what? He didn't. He just comes off like a jerk. Has the floozy up in Toronto when he was with the wife and everything like that. He's just a bad guy. He kind of coming to New York didn't help him.
He's a guy who got out of Seattle
Yeah.
in the obscurity of Washington State, came to New York, and the big...
Well, he went to Texas first.
Well,
with
Texas too.
$250 million
Texas-
brought him to Texas.
Well, Texas maybe elevated him to national recognition, even though he was good
we
in
knew who he was,
Seattle.
but yeah.
And it's like when you get too much fame, you just don't know how to handle it. Now look at Derek Jeter.
Wow.
Jeter is still single.
Amazing.
Okay. Now he knew this. I'm actually thinking in his mind, he said, you know what? I'm 19 years old. I'm starting shortstop for the Yankees. Babe Ruth, Joe DiMaggio, Marilyn Monroe, all the women. I'm going to fucking ride this for a while because I know I'm going to make my money. I keep my head on straight. I don't do any drugs. I do nothing. They love me. I'm the starting shortstop. Hey, they made me captain at like 25. Look at me.
Well-
Oh, yeah, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to buy a house in Manalocan, and I'm going to buy a house over here. And no, I'm
Yeah,
not
but
going
he's
to date anybody. But you know what? I guarantee you, the minute he retires, which is probably going to be next year.
Soon, yeah.
It's going to be,
He's got to go.
he's got to go.
Derek, hang him up.
Hang him up. You're going on top. Go for it. There's going to be stories of him with women.
Maybe. Well, they've already had the stories. The women coming up to the room and he sent the same flowers to the same girl twice. You've heard
That's
that.
smart.
Well,
Why waste his
and
money?
let's face it, he had both Jessicas too, Alba and Beal. Yeah, he's the man.
Jessica's.
Yeah. But but getting back to what we were saying about the Hall of Fame, he's going to the Hall of Fame no matter what. He's just going to go in because he's Derek Jeter. Maddox,
Exactly.
Glavine, and Thomas, like we said, are no-brainers. Piazza should be, but the problem is next year you got Randy Johnson on the ballot.
Okay,
so that's another guy.
Who's on the ballot next year? You got Randy Johnson,
I'm not too sure, but I'm sure it's going to be
Piazza, Biggio.
But they're already on the ballot. I'm talking about the
Okay.
new guy. Johnson's new on the ballot, so that knock another guy down. So who's going to get knocked down? Is it going to be
JT Snow.
Oh God, why he's even there? But that's my thing. I would propose to them to shrink the ballot down, give everybody the ones who deserve votes a better. Because if you're going to get 75% of the votes, it's going to be a good 75%. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think that's going to happen because the Baseball Writers Association are a bunch of old curmudgeons. You know, look what Dan Le Batard did. He sent his ballot to Deadspin. He showed everybody. That's supposed to be a secret thing. And he sacrificed his vote, which they did strip from him. He sacrificed his vote to show the public how it's just wrong the way they go about it. He's not saying it's crooked or anything. There's no money under the table type of deal. It's just done in a way where it's not, you can't get the right guys voted in when they deserve to be voted. Jack Morris would be in if the process was there was fewer guys on the ballot. Because he would be in there with the good players. Why should Jack Morris, who's a borderline Hall of Famer, you admit he's borderline.
Borderline.
He's borderline. But if he got in, you wouldn't cry. You know what I'm saying? But why is he on the ballot with Jock Jones? Jock Jones? Who the hell was he?
I don't even know who Jock Jones
exactly.
is.
I think he played for the Twins. You know, at some point in time.
Yeah.
At some point in time. But come on. There's guys there but the thing is, their argument is, well, if they don't get 5% of the vote, they're off the ballot anyway. But for that 1 year, they could take away 1 or 2 votes. And I really question the writers who are voting for these guys. You sit down, even if you just did statistics, you put down the statistics. Jock Jones, why?
Okay.
Why is he here?
Right. No, you go by statistics.
That's my point. And you have to start out with the statistics.
Now, you mentioned something before that you wanted to go with a period of time frame where you're the most dominant.
Well, that's one of the things I look at.
Okay. Don Mattingly. Was anybody any more dominant than him for that 6 years?
It was like 4 or 5.
But he was dominant.
He was, and I think that's the argument against him.
The numbers don't come out.
No, that's the
How
argument
about Kirby
against him.
Puckett?
I don't think he belongs in the Hall of Fame.
But he was dominant.
He put up numbers, but the thing is, people get in. Bill Mazeroski, he had 1 big World Series. He was a great defender. Why is he in the Hall of Fame? 250 career average. So Puckett shone in the postseason.
Greg Nettles. Dominant.
But he hit
better third
but
baseman
he hit like
around.
230.
He also hit almost 300 homers.
He hit over. I think he hit like 330 some odd home runs.
Did he hit over 3?
But in the day when those home runs
meant something.
When you led the league with 36 home runs.
Right, exactly.
Not like now, you know. So, listen, the periods have changed. It's hard to compare a guy from the 90s not on steroids to a guy in the 70s not on steroids. You know. But remember, the Hall of Fame, look who you got in the Hall of Fame. Ty Cobb. Was he a racist?
Yeah.
Babe Ruth, was he a drunk?
Yes. And a womanizer.
Yeah. Pete Rose, what did he do wrong?
But he's not in the Hall of Fame.
I know, but all he did wrong was gamble. While he was not playing the game, while he was managing. So
if you don't gamble against your team,
they should just leave it alone. I know. And I don't think, you know what, and knowing the kind of player he was, I don't think he ever bet against his team. No. There's no way.
No way.
That's not the kind of guy he is.
No.
There's no way.
No.
So,
no way.
But they have a hard on against them. We know. There's no doubt.
Well, because Pete Rose is a cocky guy. You know, I actually met him once.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I met him once at a baseball trade show.
I heard he's an asshole.
Very nice. No,
was he really?
Very
okay,
nice.
Cool.
He signed it and stuff like
good.
that. But I mean, not asking me how my wife and kids are. I mean, not of course not.
But this
that,
was probably after he was banned. You met him.
No, actually.
When did you meet him?
Was
it before 85?
Maybe before 85. Yeah.
Okay, so he was still around. So. Okay, all right. So he was all right. All right, okay, but he's got that arrogant look about him. I like Pete Rose as a ball player. How do you not put the guy in? You know what? This is the deal. I'm plain and simple. I'm not breaking any new ground here. You're in the Hall of Fame, but we don't ever want to see you around here ever again. Here's your plaque. We'll let you get your 15-minute speech. Disappear. You get what you deserved on both ends of the spectrum. You deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, but you also deserve to be banned. It's a plain and simple. It's all or nothing.
Yeah.
You know, or he can elect to go the way he's been going now and have everybody talk about it. Everybody knows. But the problem is, in 75 years, when somebody takes Little Johnny to the Hall of Fame, they're not going to see Pete Rose.
No.
You know, where we saw him play, Ryan never got to see him play.
Right.
You know, Ryan didn't even get to see him manage.
Yeah, exactly.
It's been that long. You know, so this is the problem. Randy Johnson's going to go in next year, But congratulations to Maddox and Glavine and Thomas. They were no-brainers. A-Rod, 162 games now he's suspended, not the 211.
But he wants to go to spring training.
That's messed up. Listen, dude, the Yankees don't want anything to do with him, but they owe him $60 million.
Horse and pony show.
It really is. So I don't know. So we'll see what happens.
Derek, you did it right.